Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than my usual craft tutorials because I want to show you guys some changes that are headed your way in Cricut Design Space. And some of you guys may already have these changes. Cricut rolls these out in batches, so if you don't have them, it's just a matter of time before you do get them. And if you don't have them, you can go ahead and get them now, and I'll show you how. That way you can follow along with me in this tutorial. So all you're going to do is you're going to click right here to these three lines right up next to your canvas and go to your settings. And from here you can toggle between the live version and the beta version. And the beta version is going to be the version that gives you these changes. And you can keep it on the beta version, and if you do, you're always going to get the changes right away when they come out. So I typically keep mine there. That way I can test out these new features before they come out and let you guys know how to use them. So just click done once you change which one you want, and if you have the live version and you switch to beta, it's probably going to install and restart. Okay, and then once you open it up, your screen's going to look like this. So immediately you probably are noticing some changes. Like right here in the layers, this obviously looks different. I'm going to unhide these real quick. But the great thing about this new feature right here is you can rename layers. So right here, I can rename each one of these, and I can rename my group. And all you have to do to rename them is double click on them. So let me name this a monogram. So now when this is hidden, I know that I want to unhide my monogram. And we'll go ahead, and this one is all the different circles. And I could label these by where they're positioned if I wanted to, or however I wanted to label them. But I'll go ahead and label this our cloud shape. And so now if both of these are hidden, I know exactly which one to click on if I want to make it visible. And this is really helpful if you're working with a ton of layers and groups. It's going to help keep everything really, really organized. So I really, really, really love this feature. And so the next thing you're probably noticing is, where did Weld go? Well, Weld is still there. I can't click on it without anything clicked on because Weld has been replaced by Combined. And so all the tools in here, you do have to work with at least 2 layers to use them. So they're not going to become available to you unless you have at least 2 layers selected. So I'm going to go ahead and select my monogram, which has 3 layers in here. And then right here in our Combine, we now have Weld. And then we also have Unite, Subtract, Intersect, and Exclude. And so I'm going to show you what all these features do and why you would want to use them. And we're going to go ahead and start with Weld. And Weld is still our same Weld. Nothing has changed with Weld except the location. But in case you weren't familiar with it before, I'm going to show you how to use that. So basically, Weld is just going to take all the layers that you have selected and turn them into one shape. And so for example, right here, with this monogram right here, they're all individual letters. So when I go to make them in Cricut Design Space, it does not look like I want it to look. And now I could attach it right here. Let's go back and I'll show you what that's going to look like. Let's go ahead and we'll attach those to kind of show you the difference between attach and weld. But when I attach them, if you look close, you see how these still run through each other. So it is going to cut right around this S here, and then it's going to cut around here. So when this cuts out, it's not going to be a monogram. It's going to be a bunch of individual pieces. And that's definitely not what we want. And so instead we can detach those, and we are going to weld these. And now it just combined this into one single layer image. So now when it cuts, it's going to cut up through here and then around here and around here instead of cutting straight through there. And so this is what you want definitely when working with monograms, or anytime you have the same color that overlaps on top of each other. You just want to weld those together so your Cricut cuts it as one piece. But when you weld it, you're going to notice it's all one layer now. There's nothing you can do to unweld it. This is it. I mean, you can't even click back in the Combine tools. The only thing you can do is hit the undo button, and that will undo it. But if you've made a bunch of changes since you welded that, undoing is not the best option. So this right here, this is another great use for Weld. You can make different shapes by combining shapes. So all I did is I just put a bunch of circles here. And then once we weld these together, we're going to have a cloud, and that looks pretty cool. So again, I'm just going to undo this because I want to now show you the difference between Unite and Weld. And basically Unite is just a weld, but it's answered all of our questions. We can now undo it. They're on different groups and we can modify. Oops, and so that's fantastic. So we're going to start with our monogram. And now instead of welding it, we're just going to unite it. So everything is welded together right here. But the only difference is we still have them on different layers. So it's all going to cut as one piece just like Weld did. It's going to cut straight around here instead of through it. But the great thing is if I realize I wanted my F a little bit bigger with Weld, you can't do anything to change that. I can click this and I can adjust it. And then as I make the changes, it's automatically going to weld back. And so now I can adjust these and move them over since I made that larger. So I can make any sort of adjustments that I need to this. And so that is awesome. And another great thing is you can go in here and you can undo it. So it's not permanent. So that is another great feature. So I'm pretty much done working with this monogram. I'm just going to get rid of it. And so that's another great feature for right here with this cloud. Is I'm going to unite this. And so again, it's one single image. However, I can go in here and I can adjust these. So maybe I wanted to change the shape of the cloud a little. I didn't like how it looked. I can go in there and I can do that now. And I can move them, resize them, and then it goes back to that welded image. So this is basically, there's really no need for Weld anymore. I recommend just using Unite because you can undo it. Now, if you go right here where it says merge layers, it is going to merge them all together like Weld. So I don't recommend doing that. The only reason you'd want to do that is to clear up your layers. But you can kind of clean them up just by closing it like that. And you can rename it to make it super easy to navigate. So I really see no reason why you would want to merge them together because it makes it permanent and you can't adjust it. So those are the first two tasks in here. We'll undo that, show you how easy it is to undo. But those are the first two tasks right here in the Combine feature. So the next one I'm going to show you is subtract. So let's see. We'll get rid of these. So basically, subtract is the new and improved slice. So you know, Design Space has just updated some of the features it already has, but basically made it the way we've been asking for them to make it. So right here with subtract, what subtract does is it removes the top layer from the bottom layer. So let's go ahead and I'll show you that, which is the same thing that slice would do. However, slice would leave you with like 3 different extra layers and you have to go through and delete them. That one took it right out and your image is done. So that was like really easy to do. And another difference, let me show you another difference. We'll just get rid of that. Let's see. Let's make this something like bold real quick. Show you how neat this is. Let's change the color. So before with the slice tool, you could only slice 2 layers at a time. So say I wanted to make, you know, an image similar to this where I have like a bunch of like star cutouts. I would have to go and click on one star, click on the A, and then click on one star, click on the A, and continue to slice and continue to delete all those extra layers. Let's just, okay, you get the point, but we would continue to put the stars down here. And so now you can select everything together and then you can subtract. And so it's really simple, just a one-click process. And another great thing that Slice didn't do is, again, these are all separate layers. So I can go in and adjust them. I can resize them. I can relocate them by sliding them over. Let's see. You know, you can move the location of them if they're not exactly where you want them to be. And it automatically goes back to your same original shape. And when this cuts, it's going to cut exactly as it looks right here. So it's great that we still have all these different individual layers. I love that. I can change the font of this. If I decided I wanted something thicker, I can resize this and it doesn't adjust anything, you know, within there. And again, we have the option to undo this, and you can merge them together, and that's just going to get rid of all these layers. So I don't recommend doing that. It's great to keep them open, but we can easily undo that if we decide we changed our mind. Okay, so subtract is super cool. It's just, again, an updated slice feature. All right, so let's just keep moving on. The next one is intersect. And this one is a totally new feature that we've never seen before, and it is really cool. It's actually something that I've used in Illustrator a lot. Let me see here. Let me grab. So I have this. Let me grab both of these. You guys probably noticed that I like to do a lot with leopard prints, and maybe I make letters that have leopard print in there, or maybe shapes. And this is how I do this. Basically, is with a very similar tool, but only in Illustrator. We're going to start with this one right here. So basically what intersect is going to do is it is going to combine your shapes that you have selected, but it's going to delete anything that is not overlapping. So let me show you what I mean, because telling you and showing you are definitely different. So we have our leopard print right here, and we've got our heart. Let's just measure that out. So if it's overlapping, it's going to stay. But if it's not overlapping, like all these pieces out here, it's going to get deleted. So that's basically how this works. So we're just going to go right here to our intersect. And there we are. We're left with a heart in a leopard shape, because these were overlapping with the heart. So all of these remained, but everything that wasn't with that heart got deleted. So that's a cool feature, and you can do multiple layers, but just keep in mind that it's going to act the same way, that anything that is not overlapping is going to get deleted. So for example, let me get rid of this one, and I'm going to show you like this one, because a lot of times I like to use the two colors in my leopard print. I'm going to duplicate this so I can show you what I mean, because telling you again and showing you, it makes a lot more sense when you see it. So we have multiple layers here, but we're going to go here and intersect. So we definitely did not get the shape that we were looking for, and that's because there were so many different things overlapping between these and the heart, and it just does not work right in this situation. So instead, if you have multiple colors like this, you are going to have to do this twice, just to kind of show you how you would do this. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and let's center those together so they're in the same spot, and move them. I'm going to ungroup those, and let's just drag one up here with this heart. Okay, put the heart on top. Okay, so we'll select both of these, and we will intersect, and we will select both of these, and we will intersect. And so that's how you would get it with the multiple colors. So this is a super cool feature. This is really, really great. You can do any sorts of patterns. So you wanted like a zebra print or anything, that's how you're going to do this. And it doesn't have to be animal prints, any sort of print. So that's definitely a great new feature. And again, you've probably guessed it, but we can also merge and undo the intersect as well. So if we're like, I don't like that, we can just undo it and start all over. Oh, actually, I'm going to undo this real quick. And put it back. And again, you see, we've got two of them showing both of here. And again, you can resize like this print. Say you wanted the print smaller on there. You know, you can resize or, you know, move it where you wanted it on there. So again, you can continue to modify and edit all the different layers. So just another great feature. I really like this one. And now exclude is the next feature, and it is basically the opposite of this. So this one deleted everything that was not overlapping, but with exclude, it's going to delete what is overlapping. So it almost sounds like subtract, but I'm going to show you how it's different. Let's see. I have an image that I think I want to use. I know which one would be good for this. Let's see. I only want to keep one side. Oh, and I'll show you guys a cool little thing. If you have something like this, but you want it solid, Not sure if you know this trick, but just go to your contour and get rid of all those extra pieces. So now we have a solid heart. And you can go back in there and undo that, just in case you've never used that. So let's see, we have our little best friend's heart. Let's see, let's make this something fun. So maybe we're making like a cute shirt using this. We can make that bigger. Okay. But now what we want to do is we want to make it to where the letters are cut out of the heart but continue on. So this is how you'll use exclude. Like I said, it's very similar to subtract because it removes what's in front. However, subtract would have removed the S and the T and all of this as well. But this leaves what's left on the other side still. So this is kind of how you see people who do those things that, you know, are cut out of one half of the design but not the other. So that's what exclude's going to do. And so that's basically it for the new changes. They're really cool. If you have questions about how to use any of them, you know, ask those in the comments and I'll answer them there. Just play around with them because let me show you some other things with exclude. Really, the best way to learn how to do it is just play around with it. So let's just see here. We're going to take our offset. Let's add an offset. We're going to apply. And that's another thing you can use contour for. See how it left this here, but I want it completely closed. So that's just another little trick that I don't know if you know or not. We're going to do another offset, maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, let's give these different colors so it stands out better and you can see it better. Okay, so here's one. Now I'm going to add one more offset to this one just so you can see the difference and how it's going to turn out. Okay. So let me show you what happens when you exclude. So right here, it removed this middle layer right here. But now that we have extra overlapping layers, I'm just going to kind of show you. So see how it kind of does differently depending on the amount of layers that you have. But these are pretty cool designs to get. That's how you're going to get where people have like an offset, but then there's like a cutout. And again, you can readjust any, readjust any of those. You can add this back in if you wanted to. You'd want to just duplicate it, and then you can add like the text back in if you decided you didn't want that text taken out. Just make it and then, you know, get it in the right spot. And if you wanted still this layer right here, you wanted it filled in, the one behind it. Which layer is that? You can hide just to see. And again, this is why labeling them is good. And then you could fill that. Let me see, well, I guess it does not let you use the contour while it's been done like that. I thought we could use the contour to add that back in, but I guess you cannot use the contour tool. That's good to know once it's been added. But yeah, you can place that right there. Just have fun, play around with these, but that's how you would get that empty space or this empty space around it. A lot of people like to do this. So that's just another neat feature with exclude. Lots of cool things you can do. Definitely play around with the intersect and exclude because the other ones are kind of like things you could already do. They're just made better. But these are new ones. You can create completely new designs with these, which are really cool. And something else that just popped up the other day, actually on my design space, is this edible images. And so I'll just show you this real quick. This is just Cricut Design Space images, and most of them are Cricut Access. But these are just images now that you can edit. So let me show you one here. So we'll add this to our canvas. I'll get rid of these. So right here, you have layers that you can edit and layers that you can't. So right here, you can kind of look at these to see which ones are and double click on them. So I have a girl, not a boy, so I can change that to say girl. Birthday, because these are all individual, it's not going to let me change that though. So this was the part that was editable, which was right in here. So all of them are going to have different designs in which you can edit as far as here. And so that's what makes it different than the old Cricut Access ones. So again, just Cricut trying to get better, trying to improve, and they're really doing a good job with it. Tons of new features. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and I hope you're just as excited about it as I am, all these new features. And again, if you guys have any questions, just put those in the comments and I can answer them there for you guys. And make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It's the holiday season, and I got so many fun Christmas crafts coming up that you don't want to miss. But thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.